Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
So today we're looking beyond the main civil rights movement in America. We're exploring how its energy, its ideas kind of spread out.
Yeah, how it wasn't just an isolated event, but more like
Yeah.
a catalyst, right? And
Yeah,
inspired other groups.
exactly. We know listeners are interested in these connections, how history sort of ripples outwards. So we're going to trace some of those ripples today.
Sounds good. It's fascinating stuff, seeing how those strategies and just this sheer possibility of change got picked up by others fighting for their own rights.
Okay, let's start with Cesar Chavez. What was his focus? Who was he fighting for?
Right. Cesar Chavez, he was a really key figure for farm workers, agricultural laborers, often overlooked people, working in really tough conditions, often for very low pay, not many protections. Chavez, much like civil rights leaders, worked to give this group a voice, to empower them.
And he helped start the UFWOC, the United Farm Workers Organizing Committee.
That's right. The UFWOC was the vehicle for that empowerment. It let farm workers band together, organize.
To strengthen numbers, basically.
Exactly. One person trying to negotiate with a huge agricultural company. Not much chance. But together, they had leverage. It's that core idea of collective action we saw so powerfully in the civil rights movement.
And one of their big tactics was the grape boycott. How did that actually work on the ground?
The Great Boycott. That was smart. Very effective. They realized direct talks with the big growers were, well, difficult.
Yeah.
So they went around them, appealed directly to the public, to consumers, just asked people, hey, stop buying California grapes.
And that created economic pain for the growers.
It did. Significant pressure. And you can see the parallel, right? It echoes those economic boycotts from the civil rights era, like Montgomery, using consumer power for social change.
Okay, moving on a bit.
Well,
La Raza Unida. What was their angle?
La Raza Unida came out of the Chicano movement.
Yeah.
It was actually a political party.
A whole political party.
Yeah. The main idea was gaining political power for Chicanos, for Mexican Americans, tackling discrimination by getting seats at the table, running their own candidates.
So kind of like the push for voting rights and political representation in the civil rights movement, but focused on the Chicano community.
Precisely. Using the political system itself as a tool for equality.
Then we have AIM, the American Indian movement. What were their key issues?
AIM fought for Native American rights. It was broad things like treaty rights, tribal sovereignty, but also, day-to-day issues like poverty, discrimination.
A real focus on self-determination.
Very much so. Asserting Native American identity, challenging these oppressive systems. Again, you see that echo of the civil rights movement's challenge to the status quo, demanding respect for a marginalized group.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Feminism. It's a big term, but what's the core belief?
At its heart, feminism is the belief in equality between the sexes. Social, economic, political equality. Simple idea, but obviously complex in practice.
And the movement really surged again after the civil rights era.
It did. This second wave gained a lot of momentum, really questioning those deep-seated ideas about what women's roles should be.
And a key text there was The Feminine Mystique by Betty Friedan. What made that book so impactful?
Oh, hugely impactful. Friedan wrote about this feeling, this dissatisfaction many women, especially middle-class housewives, felt after World War II. This sense that being just a wife and mother wasn't enough.
The problem that has no name, she called it.
That's the one. She argued women deserved more, were capable of more, and that questioning of limits, demanding broader opportunities, it definitely fits with the wider spirit of liberation that the civil rights movement tapped into.
And Friedan didn't just write the book, she became a leader, right?
Absolutely. A major force. She helped found NOW, the National Organization for Women, and was just a really prominent voice pushing for change on many fronts.
Speaking of prominent voices, Gloria Steinem, also a huge figure. What was her contribution?
Steinem was, well, she was incredibly effective at connecting with people, a great communicator. As a writer and activist, she made feminist ideas accessible.
And she co-founded Miss Magazine.
Yes, which was a massive platform. It gave so many feminist writers and thinkers a place to be heard. Steinem really helped broaden the movement's reach.
So let's talk about NW, the National Organization for Women, founded '66. What were they trying to achieve specifically?
NW became the organizational muscle, you could say. They focused on concrete changes, legal equality, ending sex discrimination in jobs, in education, politics.
Practical goals.
Very practical. Equal pay, reproductive rights, fighting violence against women. They took feminist principles and worked to make them policy, much like the NAACP did for civil rights.
And did these efforts lead to legal changes? I mean, Roe v. Wade comes to mind.
Roe v. Wade is a huge one, yeah. 1973 Supreme Court decision.
What did it establish? Exactly.
It established a woman's constitutional right to an abortion, grounding it in the right to privacy, a landmark victory for feminists who'd fought for reproductive freedom, for bodily autonomy.
A clear example of challenging laws to expand rights?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It showed how activism could translate into fundamental legal shifts.
And what about the ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment?
The ERA aimed to put gender equality directly into the Constitution. Just a clear statement. Rights can't be denied based on sex.
Simple, powerful idea.
Very. It was a top priority for NWU and others in the 70s. It passed Congress, actually.
But it didn't get ratified by enough states, right?
That's right. It fell short of the state ratifications needed. But the fight for it, even though it wasn't ultimately added then, really highlighted the ongoing struggle for legal gender equality.
Okay, one more area, the Stonewall riots and the gay rights movement. What happened at Stonewall?
Stonewall, 1969. It was really a flashpoint. Police raided the Stonewall Inn, a gay bar in New York City, which was unfortunately pretty common then. LGBTQ plus people faced constant harassment, discrimination.
But this time was different.
This time people fought back,
Yeah.
spontaneously, but sustained over several nights. There was a visible, forceful resistance against that police harassment, a real turning point.
And that fueled the gay rights movement.
Absolutely. It gave a huge momentum. The movement aimed for equal rights, acceptance, ending discrimination in jobs, housing, marriage rights eventually.
So again, challenging discriminatory systems, demanding equality like the civil rights movement did for race.
Exactly. Fighting discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity, demanding recognition, demanding equal treatment under the law, and just in society.
So looking back at all these different groups, Chavez, La Raza Unida, AM, feminists, the gay rights movement.
Yeah, when you step back, you can really see the thread, can't you? The civil rights movement didn't just achieve things for Black Americans. It provided a kind of template.
A model.
A model, yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe even more, a sense of possibility. It showed that marginalized groups could organize, could demand change, could challenge incredibly powerful systems, whether through boycotts, legal action, political organizing, protest.
That fundamental idea of fighting for equality.
Right. That spirit just seemed to resonate across these different struggles.
It's really clear then. The impact went way beyond race. It inspired so many others to find their voice and demand recognition.
Definitely. The whole landscape of activism changed. The pursuit of equality just took on all these different forms, driving major social shifts.
This has been really illuminating, tracing those connections. Before we wrap up, we always like to leave our listeners with a few things to think about.
Good idea.
So maybe consider this. Can you pinpoint a specific tactic, like the boycott we mentioned, that you saw pop up in another movement after being used in the civil rights movement?
Or think about how that core idea, just challenging the way things are, challenging social norms.
Yeah.
How did that connect the civil rights movement, not just to these groups, but maybe also to the broader counterculture happening around the same time?
Yeah, and what does it really mean for one movement to influence another? Is it just copying tactics? Or is there something, I don't know, deeper going on, a shared feeling maybe?
That's a great question. And maybe a final thought? Looking at all these movements we discussed, the farm workers, Chicanos, Native Americans, women, LGBTQ plus individuals, which one, in your view, has had the most lasting impact in the decades since? And why do you think that?
Lots to chew on there. It really helps us keep thinking about how history unfolds and how these struggles for justice continue to shape our world.